Good afternoon, Heat fans, people of my heart. My name is Roy, and this is going to be my Worthless Half a Penny Part 34. It's a long off season. So even though I do think that we are going to have some changes, some positive changes, starting maybe with this video, but most likely with the preseason and the regular season, in which we'll be discussing games. We'll be providing top 10s in sets of 10 games, providing best and worst players, and how players are shaping up in sets of 5, in sets of 10, in sets of 20. And I'm going to be having the help of a person that I talk about often, but basically the people of that great Facebook group that I have with just us intimate quote unquote friends who just like watching the Miami Heat. But this guy, Rafael Padpad, has agreed to come on board, and hopefully we're gonna even have videos collectively. I actually wanted this video to be a conversation with him, but we're still debating on format and we're still debating on how things are gonna work out. Now, the reason why I haven't dropped the number 34 of this series is because we are in long off season, and I'm not an insider, neither from the NBA nor from the Miami Heat, as would be the great folks that I always mention at 5 Reasons Sports. I listen to them all the time. These are the people that actually listen to the podcast the most when it comes to the Miami Heat. But when they talk about how things are going to shape up after the draft, and with the new people and what's going to happen and which player is going to play in which position, I think that they are best poised to that. But I'm still going to ask, and I still wanted to record one video. Again, I'm not going to record the top 40 players as they are right now doing, which is a great series. I recommend doing it. And by the way, Bam, Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, and Duncan Robinson all figure in that list. If I don't recall, those are the 4 current players that are figuring in that list. So it's all for the intent, for all intended purposes. Please do listen to their podcast. But absolutely, I didn't have that kind of arsenal in my bag. I didn't have those munitions, and the reason is because they are more knowledgeable. They have been fans for a much longer time, and they basically know what they're talking about a lot better than I do. And also don't think that it's any particularly fruitful, because I'm not here to just create content. I'm here to provide my comments. You have seen probably not, but I have recorded the videos during the Olympics, and those are probably littered with errors that are either insignificant or large. Hopefully none of them are large. I did try to do as best my research as possible, but I do try to go off the top of my head a lot. But in any case, I did want to record this video about a month away from the preseason and about a week away from the regular season in football. And I think that we are starting to get kind of excited and geared up to watch our teams, right? I just got into the NFL. This is going to be my 3rd season watching the NFL, actually. As for the Miami Heat, it's been a little bit longer than that. And in any case, so my question to you guys, a few questions, right? Question number 1 is that's provided by my friend Dante Howard. And it's basically, it's a joke, but it's also interesting. Are you curious to see what is going to be Jimmy's hairdo and on Media Day in October? That's question number 1. It's a little bit silly. Who knows? What do you think it's going to be? Is that going to be Punk's team? I honestly don't know, and I'm not even going to give an opinion on that. Second question is, how do you think the Miami Heat will fare this season? How many wins are they going to get? Are they going to be above 500? Are they going to be beneath 500? Are they going to be a play-in team? Are they going to be a playoff team? My opinion, as of now, has not changed. Nothing has changed, so there is no reason for me to change my opinion. I think we're going to be between 43 and 45 wins. I see people that are a little bit more optimistic, and I just don't want to jinx it. I'm not going to be optimistic. Also, not based on any other of the previous analysis that I had. There are just so many wins. I don't even think the Celtics are going to do as well this season as they did in seasons past. But that's basically up to you. How do you think it's going to happen? Are they going to do above 43 or 45? Are they going to be below? Are they going to be a play-in team, as I think? Or are they going to be above that, or even below that? It's up to you to decide. Now the question is, what do you expect from the Miami Heat coming next season? So I'm going to talk about my expectations a little bit here. And on that note, I'm also going to basically expand on that situation a little bit further with question number 3, right? But in question number 2, I think that, again, I didn't change my opinion. I said this a couple of times before on previous videos of this series, in which I think that Jimmy Butler is going to have a great comeback year, right? His contract extension, Jimmy Butler, as I've seen by Dan, the fan from the UK, say that, right? Contract extension, Jimmy Butler coming. I think he's going to have a great season, a great comeback season, hopefully with the Miami Heat, but that's, from all I hear, there is no reason to think otherwise. And I think it's going to be a great season for him, right? I also think that it might have been a great play by Pat Riley for calling out the situation, because when we talk about a great season, I talk about specifically a great regular season, so that we can guarantee, or at least help guarantee, that we are going to have a postseason to begin with, right? So that's what I talk about. I think Pat Riley's talking about, giving him his contract extension or not and making it public. It's kind of a smart way, right, to kind of force the player into a certain shape and form. Even though we know that other teams would like Jimmy Butler, I don't think Jimmy Butler is that keen on going to other teams. Another thing that I expect is to Bam to continue to improve. I don't think he's reached his ceiling, and I think he's going to continue to improve. But what I really would like to see, and I can only dream to see a few minutes here and there, and I think that we are going to see a few minutes here and there, I just would like to see that work and perhaps be more consistent, is Bam and Ware playing together, a little bit more size to the team. I'm also looking forward, of course, to watching Tyler Hero and to see what's going to happen with him. I think he's a great role player. I think is even a great sixth man. I just don't know whether he has what it takes to be a star. I do think it depends on usage. It could be a starter, but we'll see. I'm curious to see about him, because I'm curious to see how he responds. Hasn't always panned out, and that also, again, will tie to question number 3, which is about positions and about who you expect to be a PG. But still, on my expectations, I am not sure about what's going to happen with Duncan Robinson and his injury. It's certainly an injury that doesn't, if I'm not mistaken, left facet, right and back. It's not an injury that recovers. It's just an injury that's manageable. However, it depends on usage. It depends on the way that Duncan Robinson is shooting, especially the catch and shoot. It could be a great thing. But remember, right, Duncan Robinson is a guy that moves a lot, so it all depends on how his back is feeling to kind of see what kind of a player he can be or has to morph into. Same with Terry Rozier. Depends on his health in terms of question number 3. How we're going to use Terry Rozier. Same thing with Tyler Hero. How we're going to use Tyler Hero. It all depends on health. And again, I do expect to see the team healthier than last season. I think that even though we've had injuries in the past, we've also had situations in COVID, we had short seasons, we've had kind of special situations. I don't think the last season situation is something replicable. So I expect to see a healthier team. And I'm very excited again to see the sophomores, Jovic and Jaime Jaquez Jr., especially Triple J. Don't want him to have a slump, as a lot of second and third year players have. Don't want him to have that slump. Want him to have to be consistent. Want him to be there for us. And I'm very, very excited to see the rookies play. So again, for me, this is not a year of great expectations, but this is a year to see the development of a team and how its star plays and what's going to happen in this Jimmy era and the post-Jimmy era. It's not up for discussion right now. Third question is, are we going to have set positions, predetermined positions that bring us into Bam and Ware playing together? Do you think there is a chance that Bam can play the PF, or at least play with Ware more consistently? Do you think that we're going to have a starting lineup that is more consistent? Even though finishing games is most important, you have to have a consistency. You have to have some sort of structure. So even though we do know that Spo likes to play positionless, and we have the kind of theory that positions were only invented so that novices can follow the game, we do know that there are certain positions, especially the center and the point guard, that are essential. So do you think that Bam is going to continue to be, that's my opinion, of course, Bam is going to continue to be the center. I think that Terry Rozier, if healthy, is obviously going to be our point guard, but it remains to be seen in terms of health. So what do you think? Do you think we're going to have more established positions? Do you think that we are good at those positions at this point? If nobody gets injured, that's a hypothetical there. If people get injured, do we have a roster that could be deep? It all depends on the performances, of course, of the rookies. And that, of course, brings us to, of course, Tyler Hero. Could Tyler Hero play with Terry Rozier? Is that a good fit? Is Tyler Hero a good fit as a starter? How is basically how we're going to use the Rozier situation? The Richardson situation, of course, is a little bit more defined, but the backup center is also a little bit more defined in terms of Kevin Love, and even having Thomas Bryant back in the team. Those are good things. So basically, we're talking about starters, and we talked about healthy starters. And question number 4 might seem a little bit out of place in sense of its importance, because we're talking about a player that is in a 2-way contract, and it's talking about Drew Smith. But I just find it curious, is he going to remain with the Miami Heat after this in the preseason? He's not healthy yet. Once he is healthy, is he going to actually play for the Miami Heat? And Miami Heat would use his defensive prowess as a point of, that's the reason that we're keeping this guy. Or, as I actually think, has Miami Heat just basically given him, not a handout, but kind of like, gratitude for his sacrifice and the way that he got injured last season, which was kind of obviously out of anyone's control, but Miami Heat not leaving him to hang dry right before the season, and then they drop him and bring in another two ways, because we do know that we do have an abundance of options in terms of 2 ways. Now it remains to be seen. Just a little bit over a month, so we can get to that time of the year in which we start watching the games, and in game number 2, there's going to be a guy that says season over because the Miami Heat loses in overtime. By the way, that did happen. It was against the Pacers. And we actually got to game 7 against the Celtics that season. So yeah, the season wasn't quite over then. Or having a game that is just life or death on a cold mid-December evening, Wednesday evening. Having the stands and the fans fight for their favorite and their worst and their favorite roasting player, whatever it is. I miss it dearly. I am ready. Are you ready? I was ready 3 months ago. I think that 82 games wouldn't be that bad if they played over 10 months a year, but they only play throughout just about 4 or so. In any case, guys, all the best. Let's go Heat, and can't wait for the preseason.